Don't you dare buy another item from Zara until you hear what's happening behind the scenes, because this isn't just about a brand. It's about how you've been lied to, tricked into thinking Zara was your go-to for affordable fashion, only to find out that beneath those beautiful storefronts, it's a different story altogether. And by the end of this video, you won't just be questioning your last Zara purchase. You'll be rethinking the very fabric of fast fashion itself. You see, Zara's the kind of brand that gets you hooked. Sleek designs, endless new collections, unbeatable prices, and that "I'm trendy without trying too hard" feeling every time you leave the store. But what if I told you there's a dark side to that perfect shopping experience? What if Zara isn't just feeding us fashion, but feeding us lies? Lies about sustainability, lies about quality, lies about where the money really goes. This is the kind of truth that the company doesn't want you to see. And no, we're not talking about the usual gossip or shady business practices. This is far deeper. We're talking about environmental damage, human rights violations, and a system so twisted that it'll make you wonder why you ever stepped foot in a Zara store in the first place. The kind of dirty little secrets that the fast fashion world has been hiding for decades. And guess what? Zara has been at the center of it all. Here's the thing. Zara isn't just a store. It's a global powerhouse, generating billions every year, making billions off of your desire for the next great thing. But at what cost? Because the ugly truth is that $20 top you can't resist, it's probably costing someone else their health, their freedom, or their safety. And that $100 jacket you think is so sleek, it could be packed with toxic chemicals or produced in factories that run on slave labor. The truth isn't just ugly, it's mind-blowing. In this video, we're diving deep into Zara's dirty secrets. These are the things they don't want you to know, the things that don't make it into the glossy marketing campaigns. We're talking about exploitative labor, environmental destruction, and unethical supply chains that are costing way more than you ever bargained for when you swiped that credit card. But don't worry, we're not just here to drag Zara through the mud. We're here to expose the system so that you can make smarter, more conscious decisions moving forward. So, if you think Zara is just another trendy, affordable brand with a bit of hype, brace yourself. By the time this video's over, you'll see Zara in a whole new light. And you might just find yourself never stepping foot in one of their stores again. This is your wake-up call. Don't say we didn't warn you. The psychological pricing manipulation you've been falling for. Let's kick things off with something that you've probably never thought about when shopping at Zara. You see, Zara isn't just selling you clothes. They're selling you an experience. And that experience has a carefully constructed price tag attached to it. The pricing you see on those beautiful hangers is no accident. In fact, Zara has mastered the art of psychological pricing manipulation. And if you've ever felt that slight rush when you buy something from there, it's not just the fabric. It's how Zara uses your brain to get you to spend more. Here's the deal. Zara uses a strategy known as price anchoring, which is a tactic that psychologically manipulates your perception of value. What does that mean for you, the shopper? It means Zara is tricking your mind into thinking you're getting a deal, when in fact, you're likely overpaying for items that are marketed to you with a false sense of urgency. Ever notice how items at Zara always seem to be on sale? But then, when you get to checkout, the discount isn't actually as big as you thought? Here's why. Zara marks up items just to mark them down. This isn't just a fashion faux pas, it's a psychological pricing scam. The brand uses tactics like discount percentages that look massive but are really just inflated prices slashed down by a little bit, creating the illusion of a bargain. You think you're scoring a deal, but Zara is just hiding the true cost of those garments behind percentages that don't really add up. Take a moment to think about Zara's pricing model. If you buy something at Zara, chances are it's priced at $9.99 or $39.99. Never a simple round number. That 99 at the end, it's not an accident. In the world of psychology, the human brain sees $39.99 as significantly cheaper than $40, even though it's a difference of just 1 penny. That 1 cent makes you think you're getting a better deal. It's called charm pricing, and it's everywhere. But Zara doesn't stop there. They also use scarcity tactics to make you feel like you must buy now or risk losing the item forever. Limited edition releases, low stock labels. Zara knows that people feel an instinctive fear of missing out, or FOMO, and they use that to get you to buy in a hurry. The result is that you rush into purchasing, not because you really want the item, but because you're psychologically manipulated into thinking that if you wait, it'll be gone forever. What's crazy is that Zara isn't the only company using this technique. But given the brand's size and market influence, its ability to push these tricks to the absolute limit means it's super effective in getting you to hand over your cash. It's not about the price, it's about how they make you feel when you see that price. So next time you see that 50% off sign, ask yourself, is it really a deal? Or are you just paying Zara exactly what they want you to pay? The myth of timeless fashion. Zara's classic clothes aren't so classic after all. Now let's talk about the biggest lie Zara tells you every season, the myth of timeless fashion. Zara markets its clothing like it's an investment. They tell you that their pieces are classic, versatile, and you can wear them forever, no matter the trend. The reality? Zara is the antithesis of timeless fashion. In fact, their entire business model depends on the constant turnover of trends. And the faster they churn out new collections, the faster their so-called timeless pieces become obsolete. Let's break it down. When Zara says timeless, they're really just pushing the idea of transient style. Clothes that, in theory, could fit into any wardrobe, but in reality are just dressed-up versions of the latest trend. That jacket you bought last season for $79? It's already outdated. Zara's version of timeless is nothing more than the illusion of lasting fashion. And here's the kicker. Zara's model thrives on trends that don't last, forcing you to buy even more of their new clothes to stay current. You might be thinking, well, I bought a couple of classic pieces from Zara that I wear all the time. But let's be honest, those timeless pieces were probably part of a limited time collection, produced to look like something you'll wear forever. Only for Zara to release another line of timeless items that push the older items into the back of your closet. And Zara makes sure you're constantly reminded that last season's pieces are out of style by presenting you with even more timeless selections every few weeks. Zara's strategy is to create a feeling of urgency. You're led to believe that if you don't buy something now, you'll miss out, and the item will no longer be in style by the time you get around to it. What does this mean? You're trapped in a cycle where you're always trying to keep up with the newest, timeless wardrobe additions, but in reality, nothing from Zara will ever truly be timeless. Every item they sell is designed to be replaced by something new, faster and cheaper within months, making the concept of timeless fashion a complete farce. If true timeless fashion is about investment pieces you'll wear for decades, think about your grandmother's Chanel jacket, your dad's leather bomber, or a good pair of jeans. Then Zara's entire business model is a contradiction. Timeless fashion is about quality and longevity. Zara's model is about quantity and obsolescence. And that's why their so-called classics are far from it. Zara's entire business is built on convincing you that the clothes you buy will fit into any season, any decade, when in fact they're constantly creating trends that will be replaced by something new the next month. So don't be fooled. Zara's idea of timelessness is just slick marketing designed to make you spend more. Zara's intellectual property theft, how they steal from independent designers. And now we come to a dark side of Zara that you probably haven't heard much about. If you've ever seen a piece of clothing at Zara that looked familiar, like it came from a local designer or a high-end boutique, you may have just witnessed Zara's unapologetic copying of independent designers. That's right, Zara has a long history of intellectual property theft. They've been accused of copying designs from independent creators and turning those designs into mass-produced, fast fashion pieces that undercut the original designer's work. Let me hit you with some examples. Zara has been called out on multiple occasions for stealing designs from up-and-coming designers. And in some cases, Zara has even been caught copying to the letter. Take, for instance, the case of Anja Gockel, a German designer whose fabric patterns appeared in Zara stores just months after she debuted them at a fashion show. Or what about the floral embroidery design that was strikingly similar to one by Caitlin McCullough, a Brooklyn-based designer? The designs were so alike, It was clear that Zara had taken them and put them into production within weeks. But here's the kicker. Zara doesn't just steal designs from small brands or independent designers. They steal from anyone who they think they can get away with copying. Some of Zara's stolen ideas aren't even from low-profile designers. They've been accused of ripping off major fashion houses too, including designs from Balenciaga and Chanel, only with a Zara spin on it. But Zara isn't the only fast fashion brand guilty of this. In fact, many fast fashion retailers like H&M and Shein have also faced lawsuits over copying. What makes Zara different is that they've built an entire empire off of stealing from the creatives who often don't have the resources to fight back. The worst part? Zara gets away with it. Despite being dragged to court for intellectual property theft, the company often settles in private, avoids major headlines, and moves on to the next inspired piece that'll take the spotlight. Their business model is designed to churn out new looks faster than legal action can catch up. The only thing Zara has going for it is the fact that the fast fashion system is built on copying trends. But when you're copying to such an extreme degree, it raises a serious ethical question. If Zara's business model is based on theft rather than originality, can you really call it fashion at all? And this is just the beginning. We haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what's really going on behind Zara's flawless storefronts and sleek Instagram ads. If this shocked you, just wait until we dive into the deeper, darker truths lurking beneath the surface. Stick with me for more, because this isn't over, and you won't believe what's coming next. Zara's wasteful manufacturing practices, how they contribute to the global fashion crisis. Now, let's talk about one of Zara's most disturbing secrets: their wasteful manufacturing practices. In a world where sustainability is being demanded by more and more consumers, Zara's approach to manufacturing seems stuck in the past, contributing to the global fashion waste crisis that's poisoning the planet. It all starts with Zara's fast fashion model, which prioritizes speed over anything else. The company pushes out new collections faster than most people can blink. And that's the problem. Speed comes at a cost. And in Zara's case, that cost isn't just about paying workers poorly or cutting corners on quality. No, it's about the mountains of clothing waste the brand generates each year, much of which ends up in landfills. Think about it. Zara operates on a weekly cycle, constantly producing new items to stay relevant in the fast fashion game. But here's the catch. Once that cycle ends, many of those garments don't sell. What happens then? Most of them don't even make it to the sale racks. They're discarded. In fact, Zara's waste problem is so severe that it's been reported that millions of unsold garments are either burned or dumped into landfills because Zara can't sell them fast enough. Here's the math. Zara produces over 840 million garments annually. That's a staggering number. But the real problem is what happens to all that clothing. Zara's waste strategy is far from sustainable. Because the company moves so quickly to churn out new trends, old garments are quickly discarded. And even though the company talks about sustainability initiatives, the reality is far worse. Only a small fraction of those unsold items are ever recycled. Most are destroyed. A tragic end for garments that could have had a second life. What's even worse? This happens across the entire fast fashion industry. But Zara's massive production scale and lightning-fast turnaround only exacerbate the problem. The fashion industry is the second largest polluter in the world, right behind oil. And Zara, as one of the biggest players in this industry, is directly responsible for a large chunk of the toxic waste, water usage, and carbon emissions. But don't think Zara is doing something about it. While they've announced their green initiatives, the cold, hard truth is that these are mostly marketing ploys to make you feel better about buying their clothes. Zara talks about recycling, but how many people know that only 1% of Zara's collections are made with recycled fabrics? Yes, 1%. For a brand that spends millions on marketing itself as sustainable, that percentage is pathetic. And even with their eco-friendly lines, the truth is that Zara doesn't change their entire supply chain to be sustainable. They simply use sustainable materials in a few select items to greenwash their entire business model. So while you might feel good about buying that organic cotton t-shirt, you should know that Zara's entire system is designed to be wasteful. And at the heart of it, all is cheap, disposable fashion. Zara has built a global empire by promoting the idea that trendy, low-cost clothes are disposable. And now the planet is paying the price. Lack of transparency, why Zara won't tell you where your clothes really come from. If you think you know where your Zara clothes are coming from, think again. Zara's lack of transparency in its supply chain is one of the most disturbing things about the brand. And it's a huge reason why you should think twice before shopping there again. Now, Zara is huge. It's one of the biggest fashion retailers in the world. You'd think a company of this size would have no issue opening up its books and letting customers know exactly where its clothes come from, how they're made, and what their working conditions are like. But nope. Zara keeps everything under tight wraps. Zara is often coy about revealing exactly which factories produce its clothes. And they don't disclose the conditions under which they're made. They'll tell you about their ethics and sustainability goals. But if you try to get a peek behind the curtain, good luck. Unlike some of its competitors, Zara refuses to publish an up-to-date list of their factory locations or the names of their suppliers. This means there's no real way for you, the customer, to know whether the items you're buying are made in sweatshops or if they come from factories where workers are underpaid or forced to work in unsafe conditions. But the issue goes beyond a lack of information. Zara has a massive incentive to keep their supply chain murky because, for one, their factory workers are often treated appallingly. Reports of long hours, low pay, and horrific working conditions have been consistent across Zara's global supply chain. And since Zara is unwilling to disclose where their clothes come from, it's impossible to hold them accountable for the mistreatment of workers. To make matters worse, Zara doesn't even provide enough transparency about its environmental impact. They've made vague claims about reducing carbon emissions and water usage, but when pressed for concrete numbers or third-party audits, Zara falls silent. They've announced ambitious goals to make their operations more sustainable by 2025. But the truth is, they're already way behind schedule. The data they've released has been questioned by watchdog groups who claim Zara is drastically underreporting their waste and carbon footprint. Zara knows that transparency would force them to confront the reality of their environmental destruction, so they dodge, deflect, and keep their operations in the shadows. If Zara was serious about environmental responsibility and labor conditions, they'd open up their supply chain for the world to see. But instead, they continue to operate under a blanket of secrecy, refusing to reveal how many of their suppliers are contributing to unsafe working conditions or environmental devastation. The fact that Zara isn't more transparent tells you everything you need to know about how little they care about the people and the planet involved in making their clothes. The true environmental and human cost behind Zara's operations. By now it's clear that Zara's operation isn't just unsustainable, it's actively harmful. But what exactly are the environmental and human costs behind Zara's fast fashion empire? First, let's talk about the environmental cost. As one of the largest retailers in the world, Zara contributes massively to the global environmental crisis. Textile production alone is one of the largest polluters in the world, with chemicals, dyes, and waste spilling into our rivers and oceans. Zara's model, which thrives on constant consumption, forces factories to pump out more and more clothing, many of which end up in landfills. When you shop at Zara, you're essentially contributing to this waste crisis by buying into a system that relies on unsustainable production methods. Zara is also responsible for a massive carbon footprint. With millions of garments produced every year and shipped around the world, the environmental damage from these operations is staggering. The textile industry as a whole is responsible for 10% of global carbon emissions, and Zara, as a key player in this industry, has refused to drastically cut down on its emissions despite growing calls from consumers and environmentalists. Their shipping model alone, moving clothes from warehouses across continents, is a massive contributor to pollution, with Zara's just-in-time manufacturing model, meaning that the company is constantly rushing to meet demand, causing even more unnecessary carbon emissions. But the human cost of Zara's operations is even more sinister. In countries like Bangladesh, China, and India, where Zara produces many of its garments, workers are often forced to work long hours in unsafe conditions. Child labor remains a real problem in some factories, and reports of exploitation continue to surface, despite Zara's claims to the contrary. In fact, Zara's lack of transparency only makes it easier for them to sweep these issues under the rug. Ultimately, the true cost of Zara's operations isn't just environmental destruction or the exploitation of workers. It's the way Zara has built an empire on fast fashion that doesn't just encourage waste, but perpetuates human suffering. Their business model isn't just unsustainable, it's built on the backs of those least likely to be able to defend themselves, with little to no accountability for the widespread damage they cause. That's the sad, shocking truth behind Zara's operations. And while they'll continue to churn out new collections, market their recycled fabrics, and promote their eco-friendly labels, the truth remains the same. Zara's fast fashion empire is built on exploitation of both people and the planet. So there you have it. Zara, one of the biggest and most influential fast fashion giants in the world, is hiding a lot more than just mismatched buttons and threadbare seams. The truth about Zara is shocking, from their wasteful manufacturing practices to their lack of transparency and the human cost of cheap clothing. Zara's business model isn't just unsustainable, it's downright damaging. For years, we've been told Zara is the answer to affordable, stylish, and trendy fashion. But when you pull back the curtain, you'll see that the price we're paying for those $10 t-shirts isn't just financial. It's environmental, it's human, and it's a cost that's spiraling out of control. So, next time you're tempted to swipe that card and buy a new shirt or jacket from Zara, ask yourself, is it really worth it? Is the cost of cheap, fast fashion worth the environmental toll, the labor exploitation, and the hidden dangers behind those low prices? If you've learned something new today, or if you're as shocked as I am by the truth about Zara, drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Have you ever felt guilty about shopping there? Or are you planning to ditch Zara for good? Let's get the conversation started. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more deep dives into the world of fashion and how we can all make more conscious shopping choices. Don't forget to like this video if you found it eye-opening, because the more we spread this information, the more we can challenge fast fashion giants like Zara to do better.